It's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
What is up, everybody? Welcome in. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Your boy, Mike Virginia, to my left. Oh, damn it.
See, I nailed it that time.
You did. I was hoping we'd do it at the exact same time. Britton Allen, 2 T's, 2 L's. Britton, yesterday was opening day, man. Baseball is back, baby. How you feeling?
It was an unmitigated disaster, is how I'm feeling. Don't get me wrong. Opening day is wonderful. It's my second favorite day of the year. I love opening day. I love everything about it. I wore my John Danks jersey. You know, I wear it literally one day a year, only one day a year. I had that on. I was eating some fried bean, cheese curds, just letting it all hang out. But then my boys, Cole Reagans, my boy Zach Gallen, dude, Hunter. Thank goodness Hunter Green looked good because everything else did not go well. How about you? I bet Mike V had a pretty good day because those Orioles kicked ass, dude.
They did, and my boy Vinny P hit a 3-run dinger, so I was happy about that. Hey, Britton, I wanted to show you something really quick.
Officially turned around, guys. We are back, baby. We are fucking back.
We're back. Yeah. Classic. We are back. We are back. We are getting Doug back.
And we're the 3 best friends that anybody could have.
Okay, that's enough of that. I just wanted to play the "We Are Back" portion of it, but yeah, baseball is back. The O's kicked ass. My fantasy teams did relatively well. I did have a couple shares of Zach Gallen, which kind of bit me in the butt. I did not have any shares of Cole Reagans though.
Yeah, I championed Zach Gallen. I was like, it's a walk year. He had a great spring. I watched the whole game because I had some shenanigans on that some parlays and some other things. And he gave up 4 earned runs in 4 innings. It was worse than that. It was a lot worse than that. He could not throw a strike.
Nope.
Oh, it was terrible. It was like the worst way to cap off a rough evening. Like I got all excited because Tanner Bybee got late scratched from because of food poisoning. And I'm like, and I love Cole Reagans anyway, so I hopped aboard that train. Casey Jones. Trouble ahead, trouble behind, and that notion just crossed my mind. I watched that game. It was like the Keystone Cops out there on defense. Like Jonathan India made 5 errors.
Wait, did he?
And I know it only says 1, but he made 5.
Okay.
And then he made a base running mistake. It was late in the game with runners on first and third, no outs. And somehow, because of some base running error, they managed to, at the end of the play, it was 1 runner on second, 2 outs, no runs. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
That is interesting. Yeah. I ended up getting the MLB TV package late yesterday, and I'm sure you probably saw that on Twitter. It was a big fiasco for like the first half of the 3:00 games. MLB couldn't get their shit together, and everything was like unavailable, so it wasn't working. It was like down, which kind of pissed me off. So, but there's a lot of games on TV. I got the Nats, the Yankees, and the O's were on. But Britton, despite Cole Reagans and Zach Gallen having bad games, nobody had a worse opening day than Mr. Jackson Chourio with not the golden sombrero, the platinum sombrero with 5 strikeouts.
That's bad. I hope he gets dropped in all your 10-team work leagues or whatever it is. That was rough. But I'll tell you, whoever waited on catcher and drafted Austin Wells, I think that's his name for the Yankees. Yeah, man, y'all are sitting pretty. He looked great. Adley Rutschman looked great. Not to get all catchery on you, but yeah, so that was a fun start. That was a good game. Freddie Peralta came out, struggled. I mean, obviously he gave like maybe it wasn't first pitch, like second pitch home run. Yeah. But then he settled in and looked just fine. But that was a fun game. Obviously, and you were watching the Blue Jays and the O's, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
Was that on TV? Did you get to watch
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, yep. We have in where I live, we get both the Nats and the O's on a network called Masson. So we have Masson 1 and Masson 2. So they flip flop in between and who gets what. But yeah, I got to watch the entire game, which was awesome. And seeing Adley Rushman hit those 2 homers. I don't have any shares of Adley in my fantasy leagues, but as an O's fan, it's he put in a lot of work during the offseason, apparently, which was really great. So seeing him hit 2 mammoth home runs off of Jose Barrios, who also had a really rough day at the office, was really good. So they get Kevin Gossman today, former O. So we'll see how we fare against him. Mm-hmm. We'll see how we fare against him, but that's starting up right now. So for those of you guys who are in the live chat, we got 86 people watching us. Thank you guys so much for joining. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Make sure you guys follow us on YouTube, Twitter, all the socials. Follow everybody down here in these little banners here. You'll see at the top here, it says Fabulous Waiver Wire Chat Show with Mike and Britton. We have some technical difficulties with StreamYard, which is the platform we use for these shows, and we don't have the overlay here for the top port. So we chose this one, and Britton made up a good point that regardless of what day it is, every show that we do is fabulous because it's him and I doing it. So
yeah, and when we say technical difficulties, what we mean is we don't know what the hell we're doing.
Right.
That's a real nice way. That's one way to put it.
That's right.
But
That's right.
But hey, Mike V is fabulous. We know that, so that's why we're going to leave that one up there.
That's right, Britton. I don't know if you know this or not, but apparently, your guy that you called in one of the very first show that we did, Tyler Soderstrom, apparently is all world. I'm not kidding. I'm not going to mention any names. I got a question today. Should I drop Jackson Chorio for Tyler Soderstrom? I wish I was making that up, but I'm not. And this person shall remain nameless, new to fantasy baseball. But we are that level of hype for Tyler Soderstrom. So I want to get your thoughts on it. I know you're high on him going into the year, but do you see this as a path, and maybe a little preview to our Sunday show? Do you see a path for regular playing time for him? And what are your thoughts on him moving forward? Is the hype for real?
Hype's for real, baby. We've been talking about him all off season. He was a first round pick, came up as a catcher. They going to switch him to first base because he's a pure power bat. Power's his thing. He's going to have ups. He's going to have downs, just like all of us. But the talent's there, and he's going to be part of that lineup every day. And the coach, what's his name? Is it Kotze? Yeah, he said that he is going to be a backup catcher, so you might get catcher eligibility for that guy, which would be awesome.
Oh yeah,
because catchers get injured all the time, and if you can just slide in Tyler Soderstrom, who's playing first base mainly but catcher eligible, dude. I mean, it's almost guaranteed 30 home runs. Knock on Formica. Yeah, this ain't wood. This was made in a manufacturer somewhere, but okay, guaranteed 20. How about that?
There you go.
He hit 2. He's 10% there or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, look, you're going to get production out of him. Plus, here's another thing, Mike V. It was in Seattle.
It was.
Just wait till he gets to that minor league park and starts cranking home runs. But yeah, he looked good. Who else looked good in that game was Logan Gilbert.
He did.
When I passed up Logan Gilbert for Cole Reagans, it's one start. We need to. Hey, that ticker down here, Mike V. We need to put down there. Everything we say is taken with a grain of salt because it's literally one game out of 162.
Yep.
But Logan Gilbert, you'd rather your pitcher look great than not great, and Logan Gilbert worked great. But the same concerns exist for him. Seattle can't score. Like he went away with a no decision because when he left the game, it was 1-0 the Athletics. It sucks for him. Like he's one of the best pitchers in the league, and Seattle can't score.
Yeah, agreed. And I agree with both takes there on Soderstrom hitting those 2 dingers in Seattle, which is a tough ballpark to do that in, and Logan Gilbert as well. I also thought about that same thought with Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal. Now, I get it that Tarek Skubal is going up against the best offense and probably the best team in baseball in the Dodgers, so a little rough day at the office for him as well. But I thought about this yesterday too, Britton. And I get it. Sandy Alcantara was pitching for the Marlins. their ace pitcher stud. But I also thought about this too. Your first round pick, if you play in a wins league instead of quality starts with Paul Skeens, wins are going to be hard to come by with Pittsburgh, I think, which makes a little risky for drafting him in the first round and a lot of 15-teamers or even 12-teamers. That was a rough game to watch for Pittsburgh because they just couldn't muster up anything to get him a win.
It's going to be like that all season too. Pittsburgh is one of the worst teams in the league, which sucks. Yeah, which is not great because you have Paul Skeens, Bubba Chandler, Thomas Harrington. You have all of these super talented players, like young upcoming players, and your offense, your leadoff hitter is Tommy Pham. Now look, there's nothing wrong with Tommy Pham. He's a 2020 guy, but he's like 37 years old. Like, and not to be an ageist or anything, but wow. And they have Brian Hayes, but his offense has never really taken off. Like, no. If you're a fan of Pittsburgh, it's the same old thing. Like they don't spend money on free agents. They have high draft picks because they're always at the bottom of the division. Yep. So they got to get lucky. Not lucky, but they got to develop through the system. It's sad. It's I wish Skeens was on the the Yankees or the Dodgers, but whatever.
Yeah. Hey, going back to Tyler Soderstrom really quick, I want to share something I made. This is probably going to get a lot of hate and a lot of people coming after me here, but I want to share this because I thought it was creative. I don't know if you've ever seen this meme before.
Yeah. Yeah, the Toy Story. I see it. Yeah, that's funny.
Mason Wynn truthers when they see Soderstrom, right? They don't want to play with Mason Wynn anymore. Mason Wynn was the big hype guy going into this year, and now that Tyler Soderstrom hit 2 homers in the rough spring training from Mason Wynn, it's been quiet. But
look, I know you hate Mason Wynn. I get it, but was he like that big a hype guy? I mean, nobody was drafting him in like the top 10 rounds or anything, were they?
No. Yes, they were. That's
Mason
what I'm saying. Yes.
And then he went like 1 for 30, like or 1 for 50 in spring training, and they demoted him to like hitting 9th or something. Hey, but you know what? The Cardinals won yesterday.
They did, and Nolan Arenado looked great on that home run that he hit.
Sonny Gray looked great. He had no business looking great after a 2-hour rain delay.
Exactly.
Plus, he was awful this spring. His velo topped out at like 91.
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah, so of course I bet against him, and we know how that went, Mike V.
Yes.
Everything went wrong. Except the only thing that didn't go wrong was Tyler Soderstrom because he's literally on every single one of my teams, all my NFBC teams. I got him late, but other than that, it was a disaster.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too with the overreactions here. But I want to get your thoughts on 2 other guys since these are 2 of the other hitters that are the talk of the town. But I want to get your thoughts, and I want you to give me a real, not for real. We already talked about Tyler Soderstrom. Next guy up here who had arguably the best day yesterday was Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox. Had 2 dongs with 4 RBIs out of the 7th hole for Boston, and was the reason for them winning technically. So against a very good Texas team. Do you have any thoughts on Wilyer Abreu moving forward? Is he for real? Not for real?
I'm going to say for real, but with caveat, he's a platoon bat. So he's not going to play every day. And regardless of how you feel about that 100% affects his value.
100%.
Yeah, he's a lefty bat. They're not going to play him against lefties. And by the way, Nathan Eovaldi looked pretty good. I mean, 8 Ks and however many innings, wasn't his fault. But yeah, Wilyer Abreu, he had a good game. Yeah. So I wouldn't go nuts on the waiver wire or Fab, and I'm sure we'll talk about him Sunday probably.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. It was a great game, and he's a good player, and he kind of came out of the blue because all spring training he was sick. With whatever Mookie Betts had, some illness, unfortunately. So he just kind of came out of nowhere, and look, he hit two good hits yesterday. But so yeah, and he's a platoon bat. So I would let somebody else get him.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. If you're playing a deep league and you need some offense, here's the thing, and these guys that we're talking about, and we'll bring this up on Sunday as well. It really depends on who you're dropping for some of these guys, because that's always been a factor. And probably I got hammered with 3 of these guys in terms of questions all day on Twitter.
Would you drop Churio for Will Abreu?
I only got one of those questions, and that was for Soderstrom. But with I agree with you, because Rob Refsnyder is going to be in against righties. Let's not say that Willie Abreu is going to be sitting against every lefty, but the tougher lefty matchups, he's definitely going to be out. They love Rob Refsnyder in Boston. But I agree with you.
Yeah, it's weird too. Refsnyder was a former Yankee.
Yeah, and the thing with him is with Willier is and picking him up is it's fine if you need hitting, but you're going to be and you're fine with, and you're playing a daily league and you're going to be mixing and matching and can use him as a bench bat. If you're relying him to be a reliable starting outfielder for you, that's something I would probably recommend in the deepest of leagues. If you're in a 12-team standard, I would probably let somebody else go out and grab him, unless you plan on using him as a bench bat. But
another thing we need to talk about real quick about your O's.
Yeah,
Colton Cowser bat leadoff, and I think he's batting leadoff today, right?
Yep, he's batting leadoff today.
How great is that?
Well, apparently
Colton Cowser was well, he was like in the Jorge Soler range when you could draft Colton Cowser. He wasn't a high draft pick, but if he bats leadoff and Adley's behind him and all those great hitters, wow, Colton Cowser looks like a total steal. First game, but still, he's a super talented player.
Keep in mind too that Gunner's out, so when he comes back next week, he'll be batting leadoff. I assume Cowser's going to be in the 5 or 6 hole. But how about Tyler O'Neill, buddy? Did you take that bet at least?
I didn't, because then I would have won that bet. But I didn't. But I watched the game and I saw him hit that, and I thought about you. I was like, oh, there it is, baby. but when we did our draft prep, I said
you were all over it.
Go back, check the tape. I was like, I'm leaving every single draft with Tyler O'Neill because they let Santander walk. I'd say that was another interesting too. A lot of interesting things going on with that Blue Jays game, because you had Santander, who accepted his Silver Slugger award that he got as an Oriole at the game against the Orioles.
That's right.
There's all kinds of things going inside that game.
Yeah. Real quick, when we get to the live chat here, Frank says, "Hey Mike, my new fantasy baseball best friend. Hi Britton, you're all right too." Yeah, Frank and I just connected. Man. We just connected on Twitter. Yeah.
Hey, if somebody calls me all right, I'm having a good day.
Right.
So thank you.
Here's a question from Jimmy. He wants to know, should he drop Churio for Alan Roden? Of course.
Absolutely.
Bizza says Josh Lowe injured after 2 at-bats in game 1. He's Tampa's version of Royce Lewis. Yeah, it looks like it was he got removed for oblique discomfort. So and that obviously, if you remember last year, he had some oblique injuries as well. So not good for Josh Lowe. Britton, a positive to come out of that, which we'll talk to in a minute with Tampa Bay. I want to get your thoughts on one more player, hitter-wise, is Kyle Manzardo of the Cleveland Guardians. Was a single shy, which is the easiest one to get. He was a single shy of the cycle. 4 RBIs, had a great game. What are your thoughts on Kyle Manzardo? Because he might look like a lefty bat, platoon bat as well. But interested to hear your thoughts. Is this somebody that you're interested in? And would you put him over Soderstrom and Willie Abreu?
I have Kyle Manzardo in a couple leagues, and I benched him.
So did I.
Because he was facing a lefty.
Yes,
I wasn't even sure they were going to start him, much less him hitting like he did against Cole Reagans.
Yes, I thought the exact same thing. That
dude's on my Kyle Manzardo's on my bench through no fault of his own. Yeah. So I guess we know now he's not sitting against lefties, especially ace lefties. So we'll see. Yeah, it's definitely encouraging. But again, you don't know if that was just an opening day thing or if he has obviously made his case.
Yes.
But I'm not going broke on Kyle Manzardo either, because he was up last year. He had a big day, but the track record says he's still a work in progress. But man, I get it. It's literally the first day of the season, and when a player has a good game, you want to rush out and get it because you think, oh, I'm going to get this player and he's going to hit 2 home runs every game.
Yeah.
Barry Bonds part 5 or whatever, but I don't know. I'm not rushing. I'm not breaking the bank on any of these players that had good days on the first day.
I'm so glad you mentioned this too, because I have said this all day on Twitter, and I've seen a couple other analysts as well have differing opinions. Yes, there is a level of not being too comfortable with not picking some of these guys up, but at the same time too, we are talking about day one, and where not even every team in baseball has played yet. Britain, not every team was on display yesterday. Those guys are going today. But
that game is in the books, though. FYI,
which one?
Rockies at Rays.
Oh,
that game ended. The Rays won in a walk-off.
Saw that
by some dude I've never heard of. It was pretty awesome.
I think it was a AAA MVP is what I heard in the broadcast. But
was it?
Yeah. But the same thing, and we'll talk about this on Sunday as well. For those of you guys who don't know, we do a Sunday Fab show at 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys check us out. We'll get you ready for the week ahead. We'll talk about two start SP streams. We'll talk about guys to pick up, hitters, pitchers, guys we like, guys we're thinking about dropping, whatever it may be. Take your questions. It's a good time. But going back to my thing with picking up some of these guys. I'm not dropping anybody that I drafted in the top 200 for a flavor of the day, not even flavor of the week. If I didn't draft Kyle Manzardo, Tyler Soderstrom, or Wilyer Abreu, and I'm looking to add these guys, and maybe I'm looking for a bench bat or a flyer, and I have some room, then okay. But if anybody's in my starting lineup, I'm not looking to switch and move these guys out after one game.
I'm doing it for Soderstrom. If he's on your waiver wire, 10 team, 12 team. Yeah. I'm making room for Tyler Soderstrom.
Agreed.
He has the pedigree. Not that Manzardo doesn't. Yeah. But Soderstrom was a high first round pick. Not that means everything, but he's going to be successful, in my opinion, based on his track record and development, his powered metrics. Everything looks good. So I'm not. If I have a dead space on my roster, do I want Manzardo? Sure, but I'm not dropping anybody that I that went 0 for 4 yesterday. I don't care. But Soderstrom's different. If he somehow fell through the cracks, go pick him up. I think he's going to hit 25 plus home runs, and that's hard to find even on a shallow league.
So I got asked this question too with him. This is my point. I agree with you on the Soderstrom take as well. But what I was trying to get at is I'm not drafting anybody of super high value to drop them to obtain him. Everything, obviously, there's degrees to this, right? But I got asked today, Britton, should I drop Yainer Diaz from Houston for him? And I thought that was outlandish. This is a guy we were drafting as a top 3 catcher. I can't do that yet. Now, if this is something that you're looking to acquire him and maybe move Yainer Diaz, I mean, if he's on the waiver wire, he's going to get scooped up rather quick. But in that scenario, if I have dead space on my bench, then I'm adding Soderstrom. But I'm not dropping Yainer Diaz of Houston for him either. But
do not drop Yainer Diaz. Look at his batting average the past 2 years. He's awesome. Yeah. So keep Yainer Diaz. There's somebody you can drop though on your bench, but don't. And that's why I like Tyler Soderstrom. And I promise I won't beat this drum too much more. But if he does gain catcher eligibility, that's huge for your team.
He's a cheat code.
He's a cheat code. And if he gains it, and some Yahoo or Fantrax, I think NFBC it's 20 games, so that's not great. But some it's 10.
Yahoo's 5.
Is it 5? Oh, sure. Yeah, give me that, because unless you've got one of those top 5 catchers, if you waited on catcher and you can put in Tyler Soderstrom, an everyday first baseman that has catcher eligibility, you're going to have a leg up on every other team.
Well, here's a good one for you: Austin Wells or Tyler Soderstrom.
I'm going to go Austin Wells because I don't know if they're going to bat him leadoff from here on out. I don't know what that was. The first MLB player catcher ever to have an opening day home run is Wells. So it was pretty exciting to see. And if they're going to bat him leadoff, then Wells it is.
In front of a guy like Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm and Cody Bellinger, give me some Austin Wells. I agree with you on that.
That's a great question, Mike V. If you're whatever league you're in, go to the waiver wire. If Wells is out there, add him. If Soderstrom is out there, add him, but look for Wells first.
Yeah, Beza brings up a good point here too, that he will bat leadoff against righties. Probably drop somewhat down in the order, probably like to the 6 hole against lefties. But it's good
That's
news
okay.
because that's fine because it's still an RBI spot there for him with some of these guys hitting in front of him. But at the same time too, I don't think they'll get too cute if he's having success out of that leadoff spot and can prove that he can hit lefties. I see Austin Wells as a guy that's going to crush his ADP. And I think this guy could finish as a top 6 catcher if he continues the production that we saw late last year into this year.
And for some reason, the Yankees know what to do with catchers. Jorge Posada, Yogi
Yep.
Berra.
Yep, they know what they're doing.
And Wells.
Mm-hmm.
The third best Yankees catcher in the history of the organization. I'm just kidding. It was one game.
Yeah. The next thing I want to ask you here, Britton, is and Ryan Bloomfield brought this up yesterday as one thing that we'll know right off the bat is the closer chaos is for real. We saw a lot of closers get banged around yesterday. A lot of people took blown saves, a lot of like head scratching moments. Like, wait a minute, why is this guy pitching in the 8th and not the 9th? Your staples, the top 3 closers. Devin Williams struggled, even though he got the save. Josh Hader struggled, but got the save. Is there anybody that's from a closer perspective that stood out to you yesterday, or like, oh man, I don't want any part of this?
Jordan Romano would be probably the one I'm most worried about, just because Alvarado looked so good.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, no matter who gets what or whatever, you like, and it's one again ticker time. It's one game. Romano will be fine, and he'll probably get plenty of save chances. But when you're batting that guy 7th or 8th, like, I'm not worried about Hader or Clase. I know Clase gave up a home run late, but I don't care about it. Like, those guys aren't losing their job. They're just not. No. They could have 3 blown saves in a row, and it doesn't matter.
They can have 5.
Yeah, for 2 months, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're not moving off those established guys, studs. But those managers are so patient because they've been in the game for so long. They know how this plays out. You have a bad 5 starts, and then you have a great 3 months. And at the end of the year, your stats are 10% different than they were the year before, up or down. That's it. So, but Romano's a little bit different because he's new to the organization. He's on a 1-year deal. So they have Kerkering, they have Alvarado. So I think Jordan Romano is my number 1. If I drafted him as my second catcher, I'm kind of looking at the waiver. I'm kind of which I did. I'm kind of looking at the waiver wire, going, "Where's Alvarado?"
Yeah, which I did yesterday as well. It's funny you bring that up because in my home league I did draft Jordan Romano, and I quickly picked up Alvarado. I know a lot of people want Kerkering to be the guy there. I think he's probably 3rd in line behind Romano and Alvarado. I'm not saying he's not talented, but the thing with Alvarado is he had a phenomenal spring. He touched 101 with his fastball yesterday, Britton, and he didn't throw one sinker below 98 miles an hour. So this dude's got nasty stuff. I think he's back being healthy with Philadelphia. But I agree on Jordan Romano. My guy is David Bednar of the Pirates, and I know we talked about him a little bit going into draft prep and draft season here, but gave up. It wasn't a save opportunity. He did get the loss. It was tie going into the 9th. He gave up a leadoff triple to the bottom of the order, and they ended up losing that game. So I think the leash is going to be very short for David Bednar. But the other thing here too, Britton, with Pittsburgh, and we already talked about it. I know it's only one game. Holderman didn't look good, and Santana didn't look good either. So both of those guys gave up runs as well. I'm probably staying away from everything having to do with Pittsburgh's bullpen at the moment. Now that I think about it a little bit more, like Bednar is probably the most proven. I know they like him there, but he's pissing a lot of people off in Pittsburgh. So
he had to walk the plank last year, and now he's doing it again. Like Pittsburgh can only do so much. And to Bednar's credit, he was an all-star for 2 years, starting in 22 and 23. So that's why he's getting a long leash. Plus, he's a fan favorite. He's from Pittsburgh. But I drafted Colin Holderman in a lot of leagues with the 45th round pick because he looked really good this spring. And then of course he gets blown up. So, but again, it's the first day. I'm not worried about it. Bednar is going to get a month to try to save games. Holderman will be there if Bednar gets hurt. So I'm honestly not worried about it, but I am worried about Romano. I'll say that.
Same.
One guy that looked really good. I don't, the Tampa Bay Rays won in a walk-off, but there's and I just watched the game, so it's like, recency bias, but there's a pitcher named Mason Montgomery for the Tampa Bay Rays who's a lefty. He threw like 16 pitches and 15 were strikes.
Yep.
I'm like, whoa, wowzer. Like, if he's on the waiver wire, I'm not saying go get him, but keep your eye on that dude. I don't know. That's closer stuff right there. Yeah. And I think the Rays will be in contention this year. I'm sorry about Josh Lowe. When I saw that, when you brought it up on the thing, I saw LOWE. I literally had a heart attack. Now, we all know with my love of nicotine and wine that a heart attack's coming. Well, it almost happened live on air because you know who I thought that was, right?
Brandon Lowe.
You know who I thought that was.
Yes.
And
yes.
I heard that, what do they call it? Like fibrillation.
Yep. Fibrillation.
Yeah, whatever that is. It's bad for your heart. And that's what happened to me when I saw that last name pop up. Because, I got the Brandon version of the Lau.
Yep.
Everywhere.
So do I. I was when I saw I was kind of listening in the background, and all I heard was Low exit the game. I'm like, wait, which one are we talking about? Like, ran to the TV. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But Britton, it wouldn't be a Pallazzo podcast if we didn't talk about your boy Ryan Pepio, who had a really, really good outing today. Went 6 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned. He gave up 2 runs. One of them was earned with 1 walk and 8 Ks. The stuff looked pretty good, Britton. I know he was going up against the Rockies, and they're not very good on the road, but Pepio looked really solid. Do you have any Pepio shares this year?
I have a few Pepio shares this year, but you know how I feel about the ballpark down there in Florida. So yeah. I didn't target him. So I don't have him in a lot of places. Like I was targeting other pitchers like Zach Gallen.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ryan Pepio looked great. A fan favorite of the show. We talked about him all last year. He came over from the Dodgers, the piss missile. He loves the urine stained mattress. So Ryan Pepio is a fan favorite. No matter whether he's on my teams or not, I don't care. I'm rooting for Ryan Pepio for the Tampa Bay Rays. Opening day starter. It warms my heart. I love the cockles.
Didn't we talk about it?
Yeah. So
didn't we talk about between him and Gavin Williams? If you had to pick one, it's like ask you to pick between your kids, right? Like, you can't do it.
I can't do it. I love them both. They're both great. They're both special to me. That's literally like if someone said you can only draft for the rest of your fantasy baseball life, you can only draft either Ryan Pepio or Gavin Williams. I don't know. It's like Sophie's choice.
Right.
Like which one of your kids, I don't even want to get into that because I have daughters, but I'm like, I don't know. They're both awesome. I wish them both the success. And they even though Gavin Williams struggled last year, like struggled bad, like got dropped in dynasty leagues and all that kind of stuff, but he's primed and ready. I mean, we'll see. He could give up 6 earned runs. Like one of your kids could get arrested and they call you from the police station and say, come get your kid. That's not the time you want to choose about who's your favorite kid. That's
right. That's right.
So don't get arrested on some bullshit underage consumption charge, Gavin. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, baby. That's right. Thank you guys all for jumping in the live chat here. We have 210 viewers. Pallazzo podcast, Utah. 2 L's, 2 Z's.
Give me 2.
Your boy Mike Virginia, joined by Britton Allen here. Britton, I have one more thing I want to talk about on the closer carousel that we're talking about here. It's like a lazy Susan here of
I love talking closers. That's part of the fun of it.
Yeah. Aroldis Chapman, who got a lot of buzz, and Cora said that he'd be the guy there, got the 8th. It's worth noting that he saw 2, 3, 4 in the lineup. The first one being Corey Seager in the number 2 spot, and then saw White Langford. Sure. Yeah. And then we saw Adelise Garcia. But a guy that I was high on, and I actually made this tweet way back in early March, was I said, don't draft Aroldis Chapman, don't draft Liam Hendricks, who's on the IL. Go get Justin Slayton, who I saw a lot of good things from last year, and somebody I was high on. I do have a couple shares of him already, so that was good. But I played one Holds league where I drafted him at, and I also have him in a dynasty league. But Justin Slayton, any thoughts there? I know I got a lot. That's probably the number 1 closer question I got today, because obviously Boston's going to be in the thick of things. A lot of people like them to come out of the AL. He got the save. I think Cora's maybe going to play some of these matchups like he did yesterday, especially if it's lefty heavy in the 8th and maybe in the heart of the order. But do you have any interest in Justin Slayton, and how do you see this bullpen shaking out here moving forward?
I'm glad you brought him up. Yeah, so Slayton and Alvarado for the Phillies, Slayton for the Red Sox, Alvarado. Those are my 2 favorite closer specs.
Yeah.
Like we knew they were talented. They look great. And they both got saves, which is what you want. So they've proven they can do it. Now, don't go crazy. Uribe got the first save for the Brewers last year, and somebody bid $350 for him on the first round of FAB, and he didn't get a save after that. Literally, not a single save after that.
Yep.
So I'm not saying these guys are Uribe, but don't go crazy, but definitely make a bid. Like, go for it. Like, go see if you can get them, and just kind of maybe even like I always like to play kind of keep away. Like I've got
good point.
People on my bench, because you churn and burn your bench. Like your bench isn't getting you any stats, but it's not giving anybody else any stats, right? So that's good. That helps your team in a way too. So Jose Alvarado for the Phillies and Justin Slayton for the Red Sox. If you got some room on your bench, you've got, I don't know, like Gerard Encarnacion, like some flyer that you took. Nick Gonzalez fractured his foot yesterday. He's going on the IL. Not that he would be on your bench, but you know what I'm saying? Just somebody like that you took off. Chase Meadroth didn't make the team. Sorry, bud. Got to go.
Yeah.
Hopefully see you at the All-Star break or whatever. But, something like that. So that would be my plan. What do you think?
I agree with you 100%. I actually, in my home league, I had Jordan Romano, so I picked up Alvarado, but then I also picked up Slayton as well as a what the hell type flyer. I'm good at closer, but it was more so playing keep away from the guy who has Chapman, who has really strong closers. So if it plays out, great. If it doesn't, I'll look to him. I can move him quick. It's a saves only league, so it's not holds. So I might hang on to him for a week and a half, see how it shakes out, and kind of go from there. But I agree with you. But if you had a preference between the two, because I know we'll get this question, if you had a preference between Alvarado and Slayton, which one do you prefer?
I'd go Slayton.
Okay.
Because Alvarado's a lefty, so it's going to be matchup specific. Although he can strike anybody out.
But so is Chapman, though. Chapman's lefty.
Right. So, but I don't want Chapman.
Okay.
I'll take Justin Slayton. Would be my number one. Closer spec.
Right. That's the thing too, is like, and I think you brought it up earlier when we were talking about Romano, is, they're not giving up on him. This quick. I mean,
no way.
He's a closer by nature. He's not an 8th inning guy. They didn't sign him to be that. So,
you have to be one dumb organization to give up on the guy that you signed for $9 million on the first day.
Yeah.
Like, no, like they're not going to give, like, maybe if you get to July and he's got 9 blown saves, then they'll be like, okay, something's wrong. But no, Jordan Romano is going to get saves.
Yeah. So, and that's the thing too, is I feel better about Romano being the guy than I do Chapman being the guy. Chapman was great earlier on in the season, but since he left New York, he's kind of been all over the place. He was with Texas last year and could not hold. He was great in the 8th inning, Britton. We talked about him a little bit over the past 2 years. He's great as a bridge the gap guy in 8th inning, dude. Phenomenal. His K per 9 was phenomenal. The minute they gave him the closer role, it's a completely different animal, and he was shitting the bed left and right. So I actually think Chapman, that's why I was saying that earlier on in the season, don't go out and get Hendricks, don't get Chapman, because those guys weren't having great springs. They were back and forth. Their Hendricks is coming off a big injury and the cancer aspect of it. But and then Chapman too, he's just volatile. So Slayton to me looked great. I think he's a good in that closer role. I prefer that as well. So give me Slayton over
Jose Alvarado.
Yeah, and sorry, I had a brain fart there. But if you have room to get both, I think that makes the most sense, especially if saves are very coveted in your league. But Britton, one more closer thing. Now that we're talking about it, did you watch any of the Reds game yesterday when we were going up against the Giants? Everyone was speculating on Rogers, Barlow, Santillan, and then also Graham Ashcraft. And guess what? Terry Francona does what Terry Francona does. Didn't go with any of those guys in the ninth, and went with a guy named. I don't even remember his name.
It's like Jabalt or Jabal, or
right.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
What are your thoughts there?
That's hilarious. That's my thoughts on it. I drafted Rodgers a lot,
Yeah.
as my spec because he does have closing experience. He's the oldest,
Yes.
and somebody like Terry Francona loves old because he's old. Old loves old,
He does. Yeah.
So, and I like Taylor Rodgers too. I think he's talented, but yeah, people were saying, Graham Ashcraft has got the stuff. I'm like, oh,
I don't really like him.
yeah, just having the stuff doesn't mean you're a good closer, but
No.
so yeah,
But
we'll see how that plays out.
I was going to say, because I don't know who's going to get the next save chance. We didn't even see Rodgers in this game. So if I had to bet, and I was a betting man, which I am, my money's going to be on Rodgers to get the next save. Barlow looked good. I actually think the best reliever in that bullpen is Santillan, and I think he should be the closer. But Tito came out and said he might be too good to use just in the ninth. We need him to bridge the gap. So I think he's tipping his hand a little bit.
Yeah, I read that. He said to get us there. We need him to get us there.
Right.
Which is hilarious.
So I'm thinking the next save op goes to Ashcraft or Rodgers. But if I had, like I said, if I had to bet money on it, I'd put Rodgers in that role before Ashcraft. But we'll see. It's going to be an interesting one to play out.
You have to keep your eyes on it. But man, Hunter Green looked good. I know he gave up 2 earned runs, but 8 Ks. I mean, if he makes like one tweak with control, I mean, he is like, you can see it. Like his stuff is off the charts. He just needs one little thing, and he's like a dominant pitcher. He's good, very good, but I think he's that close. That's why I love Hunter Green. I enjoyed that start. Hey, speaking of gambling, I wrote down on this piece of paper that I keep next to my computer my 3 favorite bets.
Okay.
I know you can't see it. The Twins, the Diamondbacks, and the Royals.
Is this for tomorrow's games?
No, yesterday's games. And spoiler alert, 0 for 3 on all those teams.
Yeah.
What? I thought I was so smart, Mike V. I was like, Tanner Bybee's sick, Ben Lively's starting, Cole Reagan's.
That makes the most sense, dude.
Yeah,
right. No, that makes it makes a lot of sense. I would have done the same.
Yeah, they got beat.
Yeah,
they got beat.
Going back to Hunter Green real quick, Britt, what 2 things that stood out for me with him is he only gave up 1 walk on 84 pitches, had 8 Ks, and if you look at the game log, he gave up 2 earned runs, but he only gave up 3 hits throughout those 5 innings as well in Great American Ballpark against. I know a lot of people don't like the Giants. They're sneaky good every year, and I don't know how. Don't ask why. But they always seem to be in the thick of things. They got some talent in that lineup. I was really impressed with Hunter Green. I don't have any shares of him, but I agree with you. I think he's this close to taking the next step to that elite level. So B. Henny says, "What's up,
bright
gang?"
Spot yesterday, and
yeah,
yeah.
So. What up, B. Henny? Thanks for being here, man. Jimmy says Royals were only 5% owned too. What does that mean?
Is that a gambling thing? Because
I don't know.
When Ben Live, but before when it was Tanner Bybee, the Royals were favored.
Yeah,
and then when Bybee was scratched, late scratched, the money line jumped up to minus like 180.
Right,
and then it kind of settled down to I think at first pitch it was like 170. Or excuse me, minus 170 for a money line on the Royals.
Right.
So I was all up on that, even with Bybee, but yeah, it was that game was a disaster, and and they even made it. They even got it to extra innings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm still a little fired up about it, Mike. I don't know,
dude. I know. I mean, I would be too, dude. I mean, it sounds like it was money in the bank, and it just didn't work out. Ben Lively, are you kidding me? Against Cole Reagan's, the guy that everybody was high on for winning the Cy Young in Kansas City as well, like home opener. You got to think to yourselves, these guys are going to come out swinging. Ben Lively didn't look halfway bad. He didn't give up any walks, but he gave up 3 earned runs on 4 hits. So
going short notice is probably right up Ben Lively's alley. He probably thrived on that ass.
Right. Totally true. My boy Britton, which I was very, very bummed about. You're kind of like your thing with Brandon Lowe, and you kind of had that atrial fibrillation there.
Yeah,
Vinny Pasquantino. Yeah, AFib. When Vinny Pasquantino pulled lame in that spring training game, there's a lot of talk of possibly him going on the IL, and he was testing out the hamstring during the week, Tuesday and Wednesday, going through a workout, said he felt good. I was shocked that he was in the lineup. I was almost a lock that he'd be on the IL, but went 2 for 4 yesterday with a mammoth home run. So I was happy to see that from Vinny P. I have him probably in every league that I'm in. I'm in 6 leagues, and I think I have him in all of them but one. So very high on Vinny Pasquantino. I did reach on him in TGFBI, I think, 1 round earlier to get my guy. But you have any shares of Pasquantino?
None. 0.0. Like we talked about, I waited on first base until Soderstrom.
Right.
So I have no Matt Olson. I have no Pete Olson. I don't have any of those guys.
Yeah.
I waited on first base. I waited on third. But Vinny P would have been a great pick because, obviously he's closer to value than those top guys. But
right.
But yeah, I got excited, Mike, when Vinny P came up and hit the home run. It was 3-0 Royals. I was like, here we go, baby. I was like, oh, steak dinner tonight.
Not chicken, steak.
And then the next day I have to have that talk with your wife about
it's never fun.
What just happened. So.
Yeah.
Gambling is stupid, kids. It really is. It's the dumbest thing in the world. Don't do it.
This is the thing I talk about with my wife. I don't bet on baseball. I bet on college football. But, I'm sure your wife's kind of the same. When you win, you're the best. You're a genius. You could win thousands of dollars right on these days. And your wives go, man, honey, that's great. How are we spending it? But the minute you lose, it's like, why in the hell are you losing all of our money? Are we going to be able to afford our mortgage this month? What's going on here? So I'm like, hey, I never hear any complaints when I'm winning. But a couple times that I lose, it's like World War III. So
that's funny. My wife is the total opposite. When I win, she doesn't care because she knows
that you're going to lose it.
She knows. She knows how this story ends. And
right.
Every gambler story ends the exact same way.
Yep. That's so good. Yeah. My wife is when we win, it's like, oh, great. How much did we win? I'm like, we? I was like, there's no we here, and you can't hide money from her, right? She wants to spend it immediately, right? So all the wives out there, it's gambling season. Baseball's back, right? Don't get on our case. We're going to win some. We're going to lose some, right?
Sarah was cool because she just is. But still, I was like, opening day, I got caught up in it.
Exactly. It always happens, right? And that's kind of the point of today's show is the overreactions with a lot of this stuff, right? With some of the guys with fantasy baseball. So even after opening weekend, 4 or 5 games, Britt, this is probably a good professional development because we do have some people on here that are new to fantasy baseball and have asked this question to me before, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts. When is the time to start giving up on guys for you? Like if you, and not somebody you drafted in the first 3 or 4 rounds. I'm talking about guys maybe you drafted in 7, 8, 9, 10 and after.
I don't, unless there's some type of injury. I am very patient, almost to a fault. And I think a lot of that has to do with most of my leagues are NFBC draft and hold leagues. There is no giving up. So if I drafted them there, and you subscribe to this theory too, if I drafted him, they're playing. And I don't care about the matchup. It's all going to even out. Now, if you're in a 10-team league, churn and burn, that's a totally different situation.
100%.
Ride the hot hand, squeeze the juice, whatever you want to call it. I totally get that. And, especially if it's like a fast finger league, no fab, nothing like that.
Yep.
So, so in a league like that, churn and burn your ancillary players, your CI, your MI, whatever, your UT, whatever it is. But, but if you're, if you have Trey Turner and I don't know how he did yesterday, but let's say he went 0 for 4 and then today he goes 0 for 4 and then tomorrow he goes 0 for 4. That really, it literally doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So you keep him until he gets injured because, it's kind of like getting married with a top 10 round pick. You're marrying that person for better or for worse. You're putting on the ring. You're getting down on the knee. There's a contract, literally. a marriage certificate, like all that. Like you can't do it. No matter how bad it is, you're hanging in there because a player drafted that high will turn around. They will, no matter how bleak it looks. It happens every single year. So yeah,
and somebody falls for that too, right? Like somebody in your league is going to do this. I agree with you 100%. I think something that you said earlier on with if you're in a shallower league, a 10-man and even an 8-man league. I know people that follow me playing some 8-man leagues.
Oh, those are fun. Yeah. Totally.
You can swap those guys in and out all day long. And don't get me wrong, you're not talking about guys that you're drafting in the first 4 rounds still, but maybe that number comes down a little bit from 7, 8, 9, 10 to maybe 6 and 5 and 4. But because there's so many great players on the waiver wire. Britton, if you remember correctly, last year when Corbin Carroll had an absolutely terrible first half,
couple months,
we had people in this chat asking, should I drop Corbin Carroll? And to your point, you can't do it. You spent a first round draft pick on him. You're married to him for better or worse. And then he went on in the second half to have a phenomenal second half. And we were drafting him in the first round again. So that's just a picture perfect point on why you have to stick with these guys.
It's so hard because you're watching the other teams have success.
Yep.
And you're watching your team, in 7th, 8th place. And of course it's only human to react like I have to do something.
Yeah.
I have to do something about this because the way it's going ain't working and it looks bad, but not in your top 10 round fantasy baseball. The only thing you can do is nothing because you're banking all the bad. So you got to bank the good later. And you will bank the good later because all those hot starts from your other league mates, those are going away, man. They always do. Hot starts, always cool. They always do. A guy that goes, bats 400 for the month of May will bat .011 in July.
That's right.
It always happens. Yeah, you have to. You mentally, you just have to understand that. And it's so hard because you see Tyler Soderstrom and you're like, oh, I'm going to drop Matt Olson.
Right.
Can't do it.
Yep. You can't do it.
You got to drop somebody for Tyler Soderstrom, but not Matt Olson. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but it's so hard. I get it. If you're in a 10-team league, it is so tempting because there's so much on the waiver wire to make your team fun and interesting. And let's be honest, if you're in a 10 team, it's like a carpe diem situation. Got to get those stats now. But no, you can't drop one of those stud guys.
Yeah, and then we saw, a couple of years, like last year was Corbin Carroll. The year before that was Trey Turner. And these guys went on to have great end of the years. Maybe a little too late with Trey, but with Corbin Carroll, he went on to have a phenomenal second half. So we got a question here from Frank here, Britton. He wants to know, he says, Kevin Hastings is grabbing Hunter Renfroe everywhere he can. Would you drop Tommy Pham for him? We talked about it. Pittsburgh sucks. The lineup in itself is terrible. I'm not a big Tommy Pham guy. Never really have been. I'm confused though. Did something happen in Kansas City where Hunter Renfroe is a thing now?
No, as far as I know, he went over yesterday, but Hunter Renfroe plays for the Kansas City Royals, and Kevin is the biggest Kansas City Royal fan you've ever met in your life.
Okay, that makes sense.
I think maybe that's why. I don't think it has anything. I don't want the number 8 hitter for the Kansas City Royals versus even the number 1 hitter for Pittsburgh. Like I'd still take Tommy Pham in that situation.
Yeah, agreed. I thought he was on a path to regular playing time because maybe somebody got hurt. Breaking news here, Britton. Jackson Holiday goes yaya against Kevin Gossman. O's up 1-0.
I want to give a congratulations to everyone that held firm on Jackson Holiday for the Orioles because he looks good. I will eat crow. I was out on him. I'm like he's too young.
Same.
He's going to bat 9th or 8th or whatever. I'm not interested. Blah blah blah. The cream rises to the crop, Mike V.
Always does.
Jackson Holiday. Let's go. I admit mistakes. I make a lot of them, so I'm admitting a lot. But yeah, good for him. I wish him success, and he's looking good so far. But all the O's are looking good. Let's see. Let's keep it going.
That's right. Second game of the year. So he's 1 for 1 for day with a home run. I'm out on him as well. I kind of still am. I'm not ready to make that pass on it just because he hit the dinger. But one of the things I mentioned on a previous podcast too, and I brought this up with I believe on Mason's Pallazzo, Jackson Holiday got rid of that super high leg kick.
Cooling that leg kick. Now it's just a little toe tap. And
toe tap.
Yeah.
So that is, and
tappy,
again,
tappy.
If you know anything with hitting, right, a lot of people would use their front foot as a timing mechanism, and a lot of people have different ways of doing that, whether it's low to the ground or high to the ground. Matt Shaw's got a high leg kick, which I said this in the beginning of the season too. I think that's going to go away at some point. You got to be able to get your front foot down and being able to be a good hitter, especially in today's game. Back then when Alex Rodriguez, Manny Ramirez, all these guys who had the big high leg kicks, those guys are freaks of nature, and is not the norm. So watch Juan Soto hit with 2 strikes. He barely even moves his front foot. So Jackson Holiday for me is still a guy that I think is a better in real life player than he is for fantasy. If you have him, great. Obviously, you're happy with the home run today. And here's the thing, guys. I hope I'm wrong. I hope Jackson Holiday goes out and kills it this year because I'm an O's fan. So, but from a fantasy perspective, not somebody I was targeting in drafts simply because I didn't like the spot in the order for him and wasn't sure how well he'd do. He doesn't really do anything elite, but if he can start cranking out those home runs, Britton, and live up to the #1 overall draft pick for the O's, that'd be a good thing for not only O's fans, but also for fantasy players alike.
I guess your O's fandom is rubbing off on me because I've got Adley Rutschman in some leagues. I drafted Colton Cowser in some leagues, and it wasn't because of anything Colton Cowser did. I just like the fact that there are fans that dress up like cows and sit in a certain section of Camden Yards or whatever they call it now, and they go moo.
Oh yeah.
So I'm all into this weirdo Baltimore Orioles thing we got going on the pod.
Let's go. This is a Rockies podcast, though, I thought. And speaking of
Rockies, it really is. Ezekiel Tovar had 2 hits today. I got so excited. I was like, you go, Tovar. I'm rooting for you, brother.
Speaking of Rockies, B. Henny says, what's your all's take on Hunter Goodman, who got the start today in a surprising start over Jacob Stallings at the catcher position, Britton?
I did.
I believe he had 2 hits as well. Hunter Goodman looked good. He's batting out of the 5-hole, I believe. So any thoughts here on Hunter Goodman? It's only 1 game. But what are your thoughts on him?
If you drafted Hunter Goodman late, this is a great sign.
Yep.
It's very exciting that he's going to get regular catcher starts. What you want is playing time. He's a power-heavy bat, huge power. Went to the University of Memphis, which is near and dear to my heart. Go Tigers. So I'm rooting for Hunter Goodman. I think he's going to be successful, and I think he is a great catcher too. I wouldn't go out and grab him like I would Tyler Soderstrom, because I think Tyler Soderstrom has elite hitting and power skills. I think Hunter Goodman's good, but Hunter Goodman will also kill your batting average. Tyler Soderstrom's not going to help you, but he's going to bat somewhere around 250, whereas Goodman is going to be around 200. And that 50 points hurts.
A lot of swing and miss in his game too with Goodman. And you know how I feel about that. Right? So that's how I feel about Hunter Goodman. Okay. So
no, don't be that harsh on the guy. I mean, he plays for Colorado. Yeah.
I'm kidding. I actually was high on Hunter Goodman going into this year if the playing time was there. But like Talia too, he has swing and miss stuff in his game. And I do think Stallings is going to be a guy that's going to be in and out with him. So, but it's a good sign for Hunter Goodman that he was in there today. It was almost impossible not to with the spring that he had. So I hope Hunter Goodman has a path to playing time and being able to play in multiple positions, not just behind the plate, but get creative with getting him in the lineup.
I'm literally going to have, I own 1 jersey, which obviously, the Chicago White Sox, John, thanks. I'm going to have to buy a Rockies jersey. I haven't figured out who it's going to be yet. I haven't figured that out. It's not going to be anybody popular. I know that, but it's going to be somebody. So
it's got to be purple too.
It might be Hunter Goodman, who I don't even have drafted anywhere because, I went high on catcher in all my leagues, but Yeah, so it might be Hunter Goodman. We'll see,
It's-
or it might be Mike Talia because he
I was
was
gonna
a
say
big
it's
guy.
not gonna be your boy.
It may be, but see now it's up the shark a little bit. Like everybody likes Mike Talia now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not cool anymore to like him.
It's not cool anymore to like Mike Talia, so now I can't like him anymore. Sorry, Mike. That's how
Right.
things. Like, yeah, welcome to the world. Like you're hot one day, you're
Exactly.
not the next.
Exactly. Orioles pitchers are the most boring starters that will break your heart. Yeah, I agree with that. Frank wants to know thoughts on Grayson Rodriguez and when he is back. He did throw a bullpen today. Frank, Britton, and I have been on record as saying this. Don't really have strong thoughts with Grayson. He did have a little bit of a delivery change or modification, which I believe is the reason why he's had the injury. Look, I mean, he was the number one pitcher prospect in all of baseball, right? So, is he going to live up to that hype? It still remains to be seen. But he's got a lot of injuries going on, especially with an arm thing going on. Like, if he's available on your waiver wire, is he worth an IL stash? Sure, to see how it plays out. I mean, I don't think anybody of that talent should be sitting around on your waiver wire, especially if you have an IL slot open. But it remains to be seen here, Frank. But when he's back, I would say probably mid to late May. That'd be my guess. Britton, any strong thoughts there with Grayson? I know we talked about him a lot in previous shows.
We do, and I'm out on Grayson Rodriguez because of the injury. I don't want any injured pitcher. I do not stash injured pitchers. That could come back to bite me. I totally get it. I don't draft. I don't. Pitchers are so easily injured, and you're already like, don't take an injured pitcher. Just don't. Like, and then when he comes back, how's he going to be? Recovering from an injury, right? I don't want that.
It's
I'd
an arm
rather
injury at that.
Yeah, I was like, look, Grayson Rodriguez has got a great career ahead of him. Not this year. So and I'm trying to think of like what would be like a good ad, like the Chicago White Sox kid looked great.
Sean Burke,
Sean Burke. Or was it Sean Burke? Yeah,
Sean Burke, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather have. This is going to sound crazy, Mike B. I'd rather get, if it's on the waiver wire and Grayson Rodriguez and Sean Burke, I'm getting Sean Burke. Oh, Mike V. Here's another thing too. Check this out. Kyle Freeland had one of the best lines between today and yesterday.
Yes, he did.
6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs, 7 Ks. Tell me a pitcher that pitched yesterday that had a better line than that. I would like to hear it. Let's see.
Luis Severino, maybe?
Luis Severino,
Yeah.
Logan
Not
Gilbert.
better,
No, Logan Gilbert gave up an earned run.
Yeah.
Is Kyle Freeland the best pitcher in Major League Baseball? Because if you look at the numbers, what's the argument against? There isn't one.
This is my thoughts. I mean, yeah. So I agree. Please, people, don't jump at me here. This is my thoughts with Tyler Soderstrom with some of the questions that I got today. I do agree that he needs to be owned, but very similar. I think I made a tweet about this with Kyle Freeland earlier. I was like, bet NL Cy Young. It's already locked in. Close it, lock it in the books. That there you go after one start. So. It looks like Gove is with us here. And for those of you guys who don't know, real quick, I want to give a shout out to Gove, dealing with some personal family stuff, not able to join us today or this week, but he should be back soon. Gove, we're thinking about you. Hope all is well, my friend. But he's in the live chat here. He said, "Hey guys, the show ain't half bad. It is good. You see at the top here, Gove. It's not only half bad, it's fabulous." Okay.
Hey, Govier, somebody said I was all right earlier too. So
that's true.
We're really banging it out.
Right. He says it's me. That's right. Frank wants to know here, Britton, because I do have to run here, but I want to get one more question in. Smart fab percentage for Sean Burke. What are you looking to spend of your fab for him?
I'd say 5%. I wouldn't go crazy, but because he is a rookie. He showed promise last year. The stuff metrics look good, but there's always a but, right? It is the Chicago White Sox, and so don't go crazy. But I do really like how he looked. Control, command stuff. And Uncle Ted, shout out. Uncle Ted's surprise lock of the year was the Chicago White Sox over their win percentage. And they're 1-0, right?
Wasn't like 80 games, 88 games or something he made with Govier?
That seems kind of
85 right now.
high, but whatever.
It is very high.
You never know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Miami Marlins.
There you go.
For 1-0.
89, 88 left. That's
There
what
you
he's
go,
got.
Uncle Ted. This is so funny because literally, we're going to be watching. We're going to have like a White Sox win counter for the entire season. Thanks to Uncle Ted and Michael Govier with their bet. So that'll be fun to watch.
Go. We got to get a White Sox win counter down in the bottom of the screen or something like that as a banner, just so we can keep track for everybody.
Maybe I'll take down one of these random Target fake art pictures and put like a Chicago White Sox win counter on there. That might be a better use of my wall back here.
Hell yeah. Frank, Govier says 15%. I am not that high with him. But I was kind of like with you, with Britton. I was thinking anywhere between 3 and 5% for Sean Burke, simply because of the reasons that you had mentioned. He plays for the White Sox. So if you play in a quality start league, maybe I bump that up a little bit. But if you're playing in a wins league, I'm probably not spending a whole lot on him. I do agree he looked better, but after one start, I'm not looking to go crazy on him either. So
yeah, I don't think you should spend 15% of your budget on anybody.
No. Agree.
Like we're by the time we get to Sunday, we're 3 games in.
Right. Hey, look at this here. Give Mike and Britton a raise. I would love that. That'd be great.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate you, man.
Appreciate you, Frank. Thanks for being here, man. Thanks for all the good questions as well. Britton, I want to keep us close to time here. I want to give a quick shout out again to Michael Govier. Hope all's well, buddy. Everybody else, don't forget this Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern is our fabulous Week 1 waiver wire show. So make sure you guys come check us out. Get all your questions answered. It's a perfect time to come in and ask your questions. Maybe it's a SP streamer. Should I hold or fold these guys? We do a lot of fun segments on it as well. And we tell a lot of good jokes. For those of you guys who joined us last year, that's how Dicks and Donuts were formed. If you know, you know. Charles Dickens is another popular thing that we're getting on the show now. So
yeah, Tale of Two Titties. We're literally like
I think we lost Britton.
Like 3-year-olds about baseball. It's pretty.
Britton, you still with us? I think you're frozen. Okay. All right. Well, we may have lost Britton. Someone screenshot this because
I know this is hilarious.
Okay, there you go. You're back.
Yeah, we're trying to promote our noon our Sunday show, and something screws up.
Yeah. Looks, you stalled out. You're like this.
Hey,
it was phenomenal.
Hey, you want to see more screw ups?
Right.
Come find us.
Right. Thank you guys for joining in. And Go says Britton got too excited.
I did. Yeah.
He also says he's got all the Willier Abreu. Thanks, Go. Yeah, we talked about him earlier. Steve Andrews says Britton is my favorite baseball podcaster. Either way, never miss a day while I'm working.
Hey, what the hell? That's like the nicest compliment anyone's ever given me. Guys, I went from all right at the beginning to now.
Yeah.
I don't know what I said or did, but I'll take it. Thank you, Steve Andrews. You made my day. I really appreciate you.
Forget Tyler Soderstrom. You know who the fastest riser is? Britton Allen. People, we went from all right to being a guy that he never misses a day. So
yeah, it's like Tyler Soderstrom and me, definitely in the same same
bucket
vicinity. Yeah, 100%.
Exactly. Check us out this Sunday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you guys come in and check us out. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Pallazzo Podcast YouTube channel. Follow all these guys down here at the bottom. Check out all of our previous shows. You guys know the deal. Check us out on all the socials. I'm at _Mike VA. Britton's at Britton Allen, 2 T's, 2 L's.
Utah, give me 2.
Thank you guys very much for joining. Britton, it would not be a Pallazzo podcast, and it certainly wouldn't be a Pallazzo podcast Friday if we didn't end the show with your boy.
Captain Jack Aubrey was a captain for England during the Napoleonic Wars versus France. Great movie. Go check it out, Master and Commander. Take it away, Jack.
Right, lads. Now, I know there's not a faint heart among you. And I know you're as anxious as I am to get into close action. But we must bring him right up beside us before we spring this trap. That will test our nerve. And discipline will count just as much as courage. The Acheron is a tough nut to crack. More than twice our guns, more than twice our numbers. And they will sell their lives dearly. They mean to take us as a prize. And we are worth more to them undamaged. Their greed will be their downfall. England is under threat of invasion. And though we be on the far side of the world, this ship is our home. This ship is England. So it's every hand to his rope or gun, quick's the word and sharp's the action. After all, surprise is on our side.